Hello and welcome to another Adobe Flash CS3 lesson I call Scenes and Actions. So let's get started right away. The first scene is just going to be a static scene with a button where you read a title and then you press play and it goes to the next scene. We're going to start off with a blue background. How do you access that? You can go to the Properties panel when you've clicked on here with the black arrow tool, and you can set your color. So set your blue color, or you can go to Frame, double click 12 frames per second, and set your blue color there. Okay, so I'm just going to minimize this property so that I can see my whole work screen. I'm going to grab a paintbrush. You might want to move your toolbars over so it's in the double row if you can't see. Sometimes it's hard to get to that bottom one. So I'm just going to do that right now. I'm going to go with just a round brush, and I'm going to go one size smaller, and I'm going to choose white. I chose white. And I'll just put flying aces. Then on the button layer, I'm going to create a button. So I'm going to go Insert, New Symbol, just like you did in the last lesson. I'm going to call it a play button. And make sure it is a button, not a movie clip. Probably copy that, make it nice and easy. Go Control C. And then I will grab a oval tool, and I'll probably choose this. I'm going to choose this green this time, and I'm going to go with a black outside line, so I'll use the ink bottle on that. I'll double click that, put that right in the center, grab a text tool, go Control V, and I'll sit that right in the middle. Then I'm going to highlight my text, and I'm going to go bigger, and I'm also going to try something a little different. So that looks pretty close to centered. Then I'm going to press F6, and I'll make some minor changes, like making that red, and also making the line color red. And then I'll make another minor change, like making the whole thing bigger. And again, making sure that the center Okay, so there we'll go back. Right now we're in the button here, so we'll go back to the starting scene, and I'll just make sure I'm on the button layer again, and I'll drag my play button in. Then, to make sure it stays at the scene till we're ready, we'll just go right click, Actions on the keyframe, and again Global Functions, Timeline Control, and Stop. Now when we want it to move, we're going to do the button here that says play, but on this you actually put the action on buttons, you put the action script right on the button itself. So you go right click on it, Actions, and again you start at Global Functions, Movie Clip Control, On, Press, click behind the first curly bracket, and then you can either go to and play and tell it the scene you want it to go to, or you can just hit play. I'll close my actions, and I'll go Control S and Control Enter. And nothing really happens because we haven't done anything to the scene. Let's go back to the other scene. So this is how you get from one scene to the other. That's the starting scene, that's the animated scene. Now in the animated scene, we'll start here. We'll go right click, create motion tween. And then we'll go quite a ways down. Maybe to the 65th or so. F6, and we'll just run it across. So now we'll go Control Enter. And we hit play. And it goes across. Now, what do you need to do on the animated scene? What we're going to do is we're going to start here on this layer, start this guy a little bit lower, and finish him also a little bit lower. And we're going to do a motion guide like we did earlier. So you click on the motion guide, and you take a pen tool and you start here, click and drag, click and drag, remember, never click on the end of the handle, you just keep moving. Now let's see where our guy is. In the first keyframe he's there, and in the last keyframe he's there, but we need to move him and jump him onto there. Now on our properties panel, once again, you've got to click on the keyframe and make sure it's oriented to the path, synced, and snap to the grid. And then on the last keyframe as well, it needs to be orientated to the path, synced, and snap to the grid. Now we go Control Enter, play. And very nice, follows our little loop-de-loop. Now, you're going to go on here, and we're going to add another layer. And this layer can be above the guide layer, it doesn't need to be. And we're going to call this smoke, because he's going to leave a message in the sky, and he's going to start with this message around here. So if we want to start with the message, we need a blank keyframe to start it, which is F7, and you'll notice it goes here. And then I'm going to take a paintbrush, and I'm going to get my brush a little smaller now, and we're just going to start like that, except that would have been better if it was white. And then I'm going to press here, I'm going to go F6, and I'm going to take my paintbrush. And then F6. And F6. And F6. And you just keep going F6. And here I just went F6 a couple times to give it a little space. And again, that was another F6 there. And one more F6. And Control Enter, play, click on the button, plane moves, flying aces. Alright, it's time to start adding some sound. Let's start adding sound on our button. So I believe it was play 2 I used. So we've got up, over, and in the up, in the over, I'm going to grab visor hum loop. And just going to listen to our plane flyby here for a moment. So this one's a bit annoying because they tail in and tail off. So we're going to have to do a bunch of layers for that, unfortunately. So we're going to go back to the starting scene, and I'm going to bring the layers down so it's either, sorry, not the starting scene, but the animated scene. And I'm going to add 2, 3. We'll see how many we need, maybe 4 sound layers. And I'll bring this guy in here. So on layer 6, I'm going to grab a sound. You see how long it lasts. Now a blank, we're going to need a blank keyframe again right here. So I'm going to press F7, and I'll drag another one in. And we want it to overlap. So we can probably press F7 there, drag another one in. And again, we want it to overlap. F7 and F7. So that should do it for us. So I didn't need this layer. I can drag that layer into the garbage. And let's see what happens. Control Enter. So they could overlap a little bit more. Drag that one back. And I think that'll sound better. That is our scenes and actions. Thanks for watching.